In this lesson, we'll look at how to reuse code in modules. Reusing code is something that you should always seek to do because not only is it going to reduce your development time from project to project as well as within a single project, but it'll also reduce the amount of time that it takes to fix bugs in your applications because if something goes wrong, you're only going to have to change it once and it'll be fixed everywhere. So in order to reuse code, you have to put it somewhere in a common place in your project, and modules are a simple way to achieve that. Let's create a new application. I'm going to call it Lesson 11. And we'll make it simply a Windows application. And what I'll do is add a new Windows form. And we'll do this so that we can demonstrate how two different forms can take advantage of the same code. And so let's do this. Let's put a text box or two on each of the forms. And we'll put on the first form 2 buttons. One of the buttons will actually perform a calculation calling a function that we'll create. And the second one will open form 2. This first text box will allow us to type in a number. And the second text box will allow us to display the answer. And let's go ahead and arrange these in a slightly more aesthetic way. And what I'm going to do is select the 2 text boxes and the first button by holding down the Control button on my keyboard and selecting each one of them. I'm going to select Edit, Copy. I'll go to Form 2 and I'll select Paste, and then I'll move them into position. Now what I'm going to do is add a new module called Mod Calculation. And you can see we start off with just a module, Mod Calculation End Module. Here what we'll want to do is create a function called Calculate Number. So we'll do ByVal input number as integer, and we'll return an integer. And this could contain any kind of calculation. We'll just put return input number times 5. We can make this a lot more complicated, but we'll just leave it simple for the purpose of our application. Now that we've put this function, calculate number, inside a module, we'll be able to use it from both Form 1 and Form 2. So let's go ahead and double-click our Calculate button. So we'll call txtanswer.text equals a call to our calculate number txtNumber.text, and we'll even do a integer.parse around that value. So it says txtanswer.text equals calculate number integer.parse txtNumber.text. So we're passing in the parsed integer value of whatever the user types into our text box. We'll calculate it and put that value within txt_answer.text. One more thing I need to do here, and that is put a toString on the very end so that it can be displayed in a text box. Now let's go ahead and just copy this exact line of code by using Edit, Copy. We'll go to Form 2, double-click its Calculate button, and then paste it. Because we named everything exactly the same, we can use it the exact same line of code, but we're still calling it from a different form. Finally, what we'll need to do is be able to open Form 2. And so we'll explain a little bit more about how this works later on. Just take a look at what we're doing for now. And let's run our application. First thing I want to do is open Form 2. So you can see that we have two forms open at the same time. In this form, what we'll do is type in the number 13 and click Calculate. And here we'll type in the number 14 and hit Calculate. So we can see that two different forms are calling the function that we created and placed in our module mod calculation. Now we can have as many functions or sub-procedures, and we can also put variables here that will be seen by either just the functions within the module, or if they're marked with a global keyword, they'll be seen by all the forms within our project. This goes back to the topic of scope, which was discussed early in the text for Lesson 11 and also in one of the extended readings. Additionally, what I can do, let's go ahead and create a new project. And let's call this Lesson 11. We'll call this second project. And what I can do is actually add the module that I created from the previous one by just finding it within my Lesson 11 project folder and clicking Open. And now you can see it's a part of yet another project, and I don't have to write any code. What I can just do here, and we'll just do this real simply. I'm not going to rename anything. We'll get rid of the text here though. And I believe it was called calculate number, and notice that it shows up because it's now part of this project as well, and I didn't have to write any code to take advantage of it. So textbox1.text, and here we'll do this messagebox.show calculate number integer.parse, and I'm doing this very quickly so we can demonstrate this. And now I have the same functions in another project. So you can see how handy that would be. It'll cut down dramatically on the amount of code I have to write from project to project when there might be common functions or operations between those projects. Don't forget to read the lesson text for Lesson 11 and all the lessons. And make sure you're following along with doing the actual definitions, the lesson questions, and even the exercise at the end of the lesson.